The film starts with Bill, who is having a drink before starting his job as a U.S. federal marshal. He is responsible for the security of an international flight, but his mind is so occupied that he doesn't pay much attention to the guy who uses his lighter outside the airport. After getting through the security checkpoint, he has an argument with his boss about the schedule of his flight back home. Bill isn't having a good day, and his partner Jack offers some medicine for his bloodshot eyes. Bill refuses the offer and instead goes to the lobby where he notices a little girl who drops her stuffed toy as she goes to board the flight. Flight attendant Nancy is having a hard time getting the girl on the plane, but this is where Bill shows up with her toy, and this gives the little girl the courage to board the plane. Bill then goes to his seat in the first-class cabin, and there he spots Jen, who is trying to swap her aisle seat with a window seat. While most people refuse, Zach, who's sitting next to Bill, is happy to exchange with her. Later on, after confirming with Jack that there is no threat to the plane, Bill gives the green light for takeoff, and with that, the plane starts speeding down the runway. At this moment, Bill wraps a blue ribbon around his hand, and Jen asks why he's doing that. Bill explains that the ribbon belongs to his daughter, who gave it to him to overcome his fear of flying. Jen feels bad for him and tries to calm him down as the plane takes off. It will take them around 6 hours to get to London, so most passengers, including Jen, try to get some sleep. Bill, on the other hand, goes to the toilet where he covers a vent with duct tape before lighting up a cigarette. When he comes back to his seat, he receives a text from someone on the plane. This mysterious person is threatening to kill someone on this flight after exactly 20 minutes if Bill doesn't transfer $150 million to his account. Bill knows that this is most likely a prank, but he still can't take it lightly, so he sets a timer for 20 minutes on his watch. He then signals Jack to follow him to the back room. Bill accuses Jack of sending these texts as a joke, but Jack shows his phone before saying that he isn't the one who sent those texts. After checking Jack's phone, Bill wonders if they should ask the captain to land the flight, but Jack wants to confirm if the threat is even real before they do something. Bill goes up to the cockpit where the captain tells him that they are at least 96 minutes away even from the nearest airport since they're in the middle of the Atlantic. He asks the captain to shut down the secure network after 20 minutes and then goes to the back room to keep an eye on the plane through the surveillance cameras. Bill asks Nancy and Jen to help him find the people who are using their phones on the plane. And while both women are marking passengers on the screen, Bill keeps the perpetrator busy by saying that he is arranging their ransom. This is when he gets a call from TSA agent Marinick. Bill is talking to him when suddenly he notices Jack walking to the back of the plane. He goes to see what's happening when Jack starts saying that he will share the money with him. Bill thinks that his partner is confessing, so he tries to check Jack's phone, but this is when a struggle starts between the two of them. They're fighting inside the toilet, and Jack goes to pick up his gun and shoot at his partner. At this point, Bill doesn't have a choice, so he snaps Jack's neck. He then picks up Jack's phone from the sink and leaves the toilet before changing its sign to occupied. He's walking through the aisles when he receives another text, and it becomes clear that Jack wasn't the perpetrator, but just another victim. Bill is trying to reply to these texts when the network goes down. He immediately goes to the cockpit to meet the captain, who tells him that the account number he received is actually in his own name. Because of this, Bill is now under suspicion, and the captain even takes away his gun and his badge. After the captain goes back into the cockpit, Jen comes there and helps Bill in turning on Jack's phone. She tries to ask questions about what's going on, but Bill is already agitated and he tells her to go back to her seat. He checks the phone and finds out that someone was blackmailing Jack about his briefcase. He grabs the briefcase and opens it inside the toilet to find a huge stash of drugs. He is thinking about what happened when Nancy knocks at the door and he shows her Jack's body. When she starts to panic, Bill tells her that he had no choice but to take out Jack. He explains how they need to find the man behind all this in the next 13 minutes or someone else will die. To find out the hidden mastermind, he starts checking the phones of all the passengers who are marked by Nancy and Jen. These men include a doctor, an attorney, and even a police officer named Austin who doesn't like what Bill is doing. One of the passengers tries to resist, but Bill later finds out that the man has some sketchy pictures on his phone and he was just trying to hide them. Even after checking all the marked passengers, Bill hasn't found the culprit. But this is when he sees the same guy who asked for his lighter outside the airport. His name is Tom, and he told Bill earlier that he was going to Amsterdam. Bill grabs him and takes him to the back of the plane. There he asks Marinick to check Tom's background, but Marinick says that Tom has a clean record. When Marinick orders him to stand down, Bill now realizes that he's become a prime suspect. so he ignores Marinick's command and starts asking Tom why he lied to him. When Tom claims that someone paid him $100 to lie, Bill starts dragging him through economy class to see if the man who paid him is on the flight. Tom points to a man on the other side of the plane, but after walking up to the guy, he realizes that it's not the man who paid him. After this, Bill ties his hands with duct tape and waits patiently because the 20 minutes are up and someone is going to die. He has his gun in his hand when he receives a text reminding him that the crew can also die. Thinking that Nancy might be the next target, he tries to save her, but just then the plane experiences a huge drop. When it becomes stable again, Bill runs to the cockpit to find First Officer Kyle holding the captain in his arms. The captain doesn't look good, and Bill goes to the economy class to fetch the doctor. There, Austin tries to ask him what the hell is going on, but Bill tells him in a stern tone to stay out of this. He then goes back to the captain where the doctor tells him that the captain is dead and he might have been poisoned. Bill knows that the captain was alone in the cockpit with Kyle, but he doesn't suspect the first officer, so he tells Kyle not to let anyone inside the cockpit until they land. He then gets on a call with Marinick and tells him that the captain is dead. He tells Marinick that they should pay the ransom before anyone else dies, but Marinick wants to talk to the second marshal on this flight. This is when Bill tells him about what happened to Jack. This proves to be the last straw, and Marinick informs Bill that he's been declared a terrorist and cannot talk to him anymore. This news disturbs Bill, and he's wondering what to do when he notices Jen looking at him. He goes up to her to see her talking to Zach, who's a programmer. After Zach claims that he can make any phone ring by planting a virus inside it, Bill asks him to create a virus and use it to find the guy who's been causing all this chaos. And while Zach is working on the virus, Bill asks all the passengers to gather inside the economy class. He's talking to them when he notices that the plane is turning around. He immediately goes to the cockpit and asks Kyle what's happening. Kyle says that he will land the plane in Iceland in approximately 55 minutes. He's also been ordered to cut the network, but Bill tells him to wait 5 more minutes before shutting it down. He then goes back to the economy class and uses the virus that Zach created to find the guy responsible for this. As soon as he sends the virus, a phone starts ringing and Bill finds it inside the attorney's pocket. The man says the phone doesn't belong to him, but Bill takes him to the back and ties his hands before asking him why he's doing all of this. But right then, the man starts choking up and pretty soon he's been declared dead by the doctor. At this point, the doctor tells Austin and others about all the dead bodies on the plane, and they are now certain that Bill is trying to crash the plane. While they're talking, Bill is smoking in the restroom, where he spots a hole that leads directly into the cockpit. He even finds parts of a blowgun in the trash and figures out that someone hit the captain with a poisoned dart through the hole. After finding a needle in the attorney's dead body as well, he goes to meet the woman who he saw entering the restroom before the captain's death. The old lady says that the last person she saw entering the restroom was none other than Jen. This shocks Bill and he confronts Jen about it. He asks her why she wanted the window seat so badly and why she has been trying to help him. His accusations clearly hurt her, and she says that she was just trying to help him because he seems like a good man. She tells him how she has a heart condition and she can die at any moment. That's why she likes to sit near the window. Bill believes her and even offers her a drink to calm her nerves. In the cabin, the passengers are watching with horror as the news is now claiming that Bill has hijacked the plane as his intentions are unclear. Bill, on the other hand, is checking the phone he found inside the attorney's pocket when suddenly the phone sends some scary text to TSA before starting a 30-minute countdown. Bill knows what this means and he asks Jen to check every bag inside the plane. He then gets on a call with Marinick and tells him that there is likely a bomb on the plane, so they need to bring it down to 8,000 feet. But Marinick isn't even listening to him because he believes that Bill is the one who's trying to kill everyone. While searching, Bill and Jen watch the news mentioning how he has become unstable after the death of his 8-year-old daughter. A man even questions why the marshals are allowed to board flights without any kind of checking. These words give Bill an idea and he immediately checks Jack's briefcase, and just as he expected, the bomb is hidden inside the drugs. When he leaves the restroom, Austin hits him in the head and he immediately gets swarmed by some passengers. They're trying to subdue him while he is hitting them to keep them away. Eventually, the passengers take him down and he tells them that there's an explosive device on the plane. Austin doesn't believe him, but he has to leave Bill alone when Tom gets there holding Bill's gun. He allows Bill to speak and he tells everyone that he is not the bad guy and he's just trying to save them. After Tom hands him the gun, Bill tells Nancy that they are going to put the briefcase near the back door and cover it with every piece of luggage they can find. Austin is also there, and Bill explains that if they do this and take the plane down to 8,000 feet, there is a chance that they will survive the blast. After giving Austin a gun, he goes to the cockpit and tells Kyle about the situation. By now, the plane is surrounded by fighter jets, so Kyle says that he will take the plane down to the required height after 10 minutes. During this time, the passengers are busy stacking the luggage against Jack's briefcase. Meanwhile, Bill gives his ribbon to the little girl and leaves her in Jen's care. This is when he gets a call from Marinick, who says that the money has been transferred into Bill's account. Bill plays that call on the loudspeaker so the real hijackers can hear this news. He's still talking to Marinick when he learns that a guy is recording his every move. He goes up to the young man and grabs his phone. After checking it, he realizes that it was actually Tom who injected the attorney with that poison. But before he can do anything, Tom gets up and takes Austin's gun. Luckily, the gun isn't loaded and Austin knocks Tom down. Bill tells him to get the magazine from his luggage compartment. He is looking for Tom when Austin goes to the luggage compartment where he runs into Zach, who shoots him down. Bill also gets stabbed by Tom, who takes his gun. At this point, Tom finally explains that he is actually a war veteran who is doing this to point out the flaws in the system by showing how easily a US Marshal can take down an entire flight. Bill also learns that Zach has brought parachutes and he plans to jump when the plane goes down to 8,000 feet. Zach is dreaming about using that $150 million when Bill informs him that the fighter jets will not allow the plane to go down, and at this height they cannot jump. This means they have to disarm the bomb or they will die as well. While Tom is willing to die, Zach is clearly against this idea. He even goes to disarm the explosive device, but before he can do it, Tom shoots him down. He's about to shoot Bill as well, but just then, Kyle decides to dive the jet to 8,000 feet. This leads to complete chaos, and while Kyle is trying to keep the plane in control, Bill manages to grab his gun and put a bullet in Tom's head. When the plane finally stops diving, Bill tells everyone to run to the business class, but Zach is still alive and he goes to stab Bill. Bill knows that they are out of time, so he runs away from the back door before the blast consumes Zach. The plane has suffered a lot of damage and Kyle is trying his best to land it on the runway. However, the moment the plane touches the ground, it starts to break apart, and Bill has to save the little girl from flying out. By some miracle, the plane comes to a stop and the flight attendants immediately let everyone out through the emergency doors. While Nancy is congratulating Kyle for this miraculous landing, Bill receives a call from Marinick, who apologizes for accusing him. By this point, even the news outlets have learned the truth and they are hailing Bill as a hero. Meanwhile, Bill is talking to the little girl, who gives back his ribbon and thanks him for saving her life. The film ends with Bill and Jen talking about going on a trip together. If you enjoyed that recap, I got a good feeling you'll enjoy this one too. Click on the video on your screen for more.